Hello students, I welcome you all in the class of English Literature. Today we will go through the chapter number 3, that is letter A. Letter A is written by Christy Brown. So students, who is Christy Brown? There are some questions which comes in our mind. That is, have you come across anyone suffering from cerebral palsy? What are the problems faced by a person who has cerebral palsy? What is the attitude of parents, siblings, relatives, friends and neighbors when someone is suffering from this? So students, Christy Brown was suffering from this cerebral palsy. Now here are few lines to know about Christy Brown. Christy Brown, born in June 5, 1932, and was an Irish novelist, poet and painter who has cerebral palsy and was able to write or type only with the toes of his left foot. His most recognized work is his autobiography, My Left Foot, which has published in 1954, which was later expanded into novel Down All the Days in 1970 and went into become international bestseller. It was later made into 1989 Academy Award winning film Fair by Daniel Day-Lewis as Christy Brown. In his short career, he published 2 novels, Down All the Days and Wild Grow the Lilies. 3 volumes of poetry come softly to my wake of nails and sky-fire and background music. Christy died on 7 September 1981 in England. So students, the letter A is the autobiography of Christy Brown, taken from My Left Foot. Christy Brown was a physically handicapped, disabled child right from his birth. Though he was a handicapped, means disabled child, he wanted to do all the activities of other children. Doctors gave up all the hopes and declared him both physically and mentally defected. But his mother never accepted that her son was mentally defeated. His mother played an important role in his life. At last, Christy was able to express himself if through written words. The right describes only a little part of his life. Christy Brown was born in Rotunda Hospital on 5th of June 1932. His birth was a difficult one. Both mother and son were almost at the point of death. After his birth, his mother was sent away to build up her strength for some weeks, and he was kept in the hospital without name until his mother was well enough to take him to church. Students, Christy Brown was crippled by birth. He had cerebral palsy that sustained during pregnancy, birth, or the first 2 years of his life. His mother noticed that his head had a habit of falling backward. His jaws would lock together tightly. He could not grasp the nipple of bottle. His hands remained clenched all the time, and they twisted backward tightly. His head suddenly fell sideways. He couldn't speak or walk. He couldn't sit properly without having a mountain of pillows around him. He had a snake-like movement all the time in his body except sleep. Christy Brown was a child of clean habits. He had clean natural habits, but he couldn't aid himself. In this respect, his father took care of him. He used to lie on his back all the time in the kitchen or in the garden. Now what happened? One day, a little piece of chalk of golden color changed his whole life. He snatched a yellow chalk from his sister and tried hard to write something. With his mother's help, he drew the letter A. It was his road to a new world where he could express himself by written words. Now if you go to the role of mother, then Christy's mother refused doctor's advice. She was a woman of determination and faith. She inspired Christy all the time. She showed him the pictures of animals and flowers. When Christy snatched a piece of chalk from his sister, she came from the kitchen and knelt down beside him. She deliberately drew the letter A on the floor and asked Christy to copy. She encouraged him. She gave him a new strength to fight all the difficulties. At last, she proved everyone wrong. Now, if we see about the emotions of a child, Christy Brown. Then Christy Brown was a child of emotions. He remained alone in the back room or on a sunny warm day in the garden. He felt alone and lost in his own thoughts. He had a thirst for others' life. He thought that there was a wall of glass between his existence and others. He also wanted to run about and longed for to play with the rest. Students in letter A, Christy Brown had a big family. He had loving parents, particularly his mother. There were 9 children in his family before his birth, and he belonged to the middle group out of total 22. 17 lived and 4 died in infancy. His father used to out at bricklaying, earning bread and butter for them. Now one day, when Mona and Paddy writing down the little sums onto an old clipped slate using a bright piece of yellow chalk, then Christy was fascinated with the yellow chalk. Now students, one day a wonderful event changed his life completely. When he was attracted by the yellow piece of chalk that his brother and sister were writing within the black slates, he unconsciously grabbed the chalk out of his sister's hand. With his left foot, he held it tightly between his toes and wrote carelessly on the slate. Every family member was looking him very curiously. His sister was looking him and with the great big eyes. Now, his face lit by flames, his father sat there and his hands outspread on his knees. Now he felt sweat, and then his mother has came. Now she stood midway between the table and then saw him doing something with the chalk by his left foot. Now her eyes looked from his face down to his foot, and then she crossed over to him and knelt down beside him, and she had done so times before. Now she told that she will show him what to do with it. Now she took a chalk from Mona and then deliberately write down the letter A. Now when Christy see this letter A, then his mother said, "Christy, copy that. Copy it, Christy." Now he said that he could not, but she said that looked at me and looked your brother and sister. They all are waiting for you. You just writing. They are eagerly waiting for this miracle. Now the silliness was profound, and the room was full of flame and shadow that danced before his eyes. So students, he could hear the sound of the water tap dripping and the clock on the mantel shelf. So students, his mother asked him to try it again. Now he put out his foot and made a wild stab with the chalk, which produced a very crooked line. Now nothing more, mother held the slate and again said to him, "Try again, Christy." She whispered in his ear again. Now he did. He stiffened his body and put his left foot out again. For the third time, he drew one side of the letter. Now the chalk was broken down, but his mother asked him to try it again on the third time. Now he set his teeth so hard as he started writing. Everyone in the room swam till the faces around him. They were watching him, and he drew it. He drew it the letter A. So the students, here was the story of the letter A. Now we just recall the whole chapter. Christy's mother believed that her boy was not an idiot and he can do everything. Now when he was a boy, Christy could sit only with the support of pillow. Christy's mother felt sad but was determined to help him. One day, Mona and Paddy were doing math on a slate. Christy got attracted towards yellow chalk that his siblings were using. Now he put his left foot in his sister's hand and took the chalk. Now his mother wrote the letter A and asked Christy to copy A. With difficulty, Christy drew the letter A. Christy Brown could now communicate with the outside world. Now students, this was the story of Christy Brown, and it was the story of courage and willingness of a boy. So students, here we have completed the chapter 3, that is the letter A. So students, your chapter is completed, and now go through your question answers and exercises. And if you don't understand, listen it again. Till then, stay home, stay safe and take care. Bye bye.